Last time, on the Empire's Edge. A library built for a siege. I wonder if it used to be a castle. I wonder if it's something to do with the Zrax. Okay, yeah, next time I'm coming back in armor. Because if they're doing dumb things, I'm gonna do dumb things right back.
You don't know what I know.
As you turn, you believe that somebody just ducked back around a corner, but you also pick up on that they're really good.
I want to make sure that I'm not about to walk into an area where I step over the doorstep and I get shot. Right, so let's see. So 5 or 6 arrows, a D8 each. For these people, I would be dead. I would spare no expense for my Arnar Yunsigr bow, and I see what his reaction is.
He knows a lot more than he seems to be willing to tell.
How can I prove myself to you?
Are those owl feathers on your arrow? And he says, Jacob Treadstone, I am certain we'll be seeing each other again.
I leave the cul-de-sac as alive as I walked into it.
All right, good. You're back out again.
My hands are actually shaking, by the way. Like, look at this.
This is Ladosk Manor. This is the headquarters of the Zurek. You again notice that person. This person was up on a roof.
And I'm going to change into a panther, and I'm going to jump up onto the roof. I'm chasing them.
That as it leaps this time, it's leaping horizontally, and it looks like it is also a big cat. So, Zelen, once you've seen this cat-like thing run across the roofs, where do you go from there? It's definitely outdistanced you. You don't believe you could catch up to it tonight.
Can I track it? Can I take it? Can I follow it for a little while, or is it's gone? It's just too far.
It's already gone.
So then I'm going to, if I can tell what direction to head in to get back to the house that I'm staying in, I'm going to go there. How long has it been? Because I think I only have 10 minutes, and I don't want to turn into a human while I'm still up on a roof.
On the way down.
Turn into a pumpkin. It's midnight.
Let's say it's 9 minutes.
Oh, in that case, I think I better get down, and I will change back into a human and make my way back to the home.
Right. So I guess a direction sense, that would be, I'd roll it as a survival, just for you to find your way back.
It's Zelen's and not mine, or I'm screwed.
Find her wandering around tomorrow. Ooh.
17, thank God.
Yeah.
Plus other things. What is it called? What do I add to it? Nature?
Survival.
Oh, survival.
That's
that's a +8.
Wisdom.
I know. What?
Well, no. That was good. Keep going.
So that's a 25 unnatural. So I'm
so
down.
That's your wisdom and proficiency?
Yeah.
You're proficient in it?
And I'm a folk hero. I get a folk hero thing.
Oh, nice. I forgot about the folk hero thing.
I did too.
Don't forget about my folk
Nice.
We bring it up like every episode.
I haven't forgotten that I'm a soldier, but no one here's loyal to anybody I'm loyal to, so I can't really lever that.
You find your way very easily, retracing these streets, back past the corner of the park, adjacent street, major street, and it is dark. It's full dark as you're traveling. And then by the time you get back to the house, as you're approaching it, you can see on the front porch, like the front steps really, that the butler, Carl Woodvane, is waiting there for you.
Aww.
He is right beneath the lanterns that are lit on the outside of the house. And you would say he looks distressed. If you're going to do more of a...
Yeah, do I think he's looking for me? Or do I think, is there anybody walking away from him?
Is the house burning?
Does it look like he was in conversation with somebody?
No, he was there by himself. There's nobody else around right there. But if you want to try to sense his motive...
Am I about to get curfewed trouble?
She's like rolling. Her first roll was a 17. This one's a 19.
Just dropped it
in there.
Nonchalantly. Am I getting yelled at?
That'd be a great die, wouldn't it?
I want to get grounded.
Get a 20-sided die that just has 17s, 18s, 19s, and 20s on it.
Oh, I thought we were going with where the 20 is ice cream and the 1 is get yelled at.
Right.
My childhood.
I rolled a 19. I get at least frozen yogurt.
So you're just downgraded.
He does not look he's upset because you are gone. He looks relieved that you're back.
Okay.
And as you're walking up the stairs, he does say, my lady, the Roth House was so worried that you were out so late.
Who's Roth House?
He
Mr. Roth House.
he points to the building that you are staying in behind you and says, "This, my lady, is Roth House."
Oh, it's like, so they like the staff here, they're just referring to like the entirety of the staff and building like as Roth House.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, the Roth household.
Okay.
I certainly didn't mean to upset anybody.
Especially with the house.
I'm sorry.
And as you're saying that, he's already opening the door for you to step inside.
Do my friends look upset?
They're not back yet.
Oh, I'm here. Oh, well, why aren't they worried about the two of them?
Because he doesn't care about them.
All right. Okay.
We're not getting eloquence training.
But while
Because my
have
charisma's great.
while I have his attention,
Yes.
I'd like to find clothes more appropriate to the environment that I'm in. So I would like 2 sets of clothes. Who do I speak with? How do I acquire that?
It takes a great deal of time to have formal ladies' dresses fitted and stitched, sewn. I can make the proper inquiries for you.
No, I don't want to invest that amount of time. Is there any place that I can find things that are already made that maybe I could just have tailored to myself?
Oh. I'll make those inquiries for you.
Clean them.
Peasants.
Y'all got something other than camo?
Natalie is also deeply offended being a Park Avenue thrift shopper.
Name drop.
Now, hold on a second. I would love, is camo actually a thing that gives any sort of a mechanical advantage in this game? If I were to seek out some
They
camo.
couldn't
Camo-
dye.
camo
They
hasn't been
couldn't-
invented
they
yet.
couldn't make those kind of
Called a
dyes.
cloak of elven kind.
Okay, cool.
In which case, yes.
It's just
So-
magic.
And just so while you're talking about it, that for Zelen, he is still, you are positive, thinking in terms of ladies' fine clothing. So if you did want something that was just a little more workaday or passes something else, you would need to make more specific commentary on that. Because you
Yeah.
already look like you just crawled out of the Brimroar Hills.
Right,
And
but I look so unusual in this city. I want to try to be able to blend a little bit better as I'm moving around, particularly if I think somebody's watching me.
Sure.
But I don't want to tell him what my specific goals are, that I could have a kind of a more peasanty looking thing that I could blend into one group, and I could have a
The one
wealthier.
you've got.
Well, no, because mine has all the clacking beaks on it.
Yeah.
They,
you have
they don't
clothes-
actually clack. They don't make sounds at all.
I love the sound of like an entire entourage of horses walking through whenever she's going anywhere.
It's like whenever Zone walks anywhere, it's
Lightly-
like castanets playing.
Lightly dipped in jingle bells.
She just does like a little shimmy and like salsa music starts playing.
This is how I envision myself.
Yeah,
but
yeah. You've got clothing on under the armor.
anyway, but so I'd like to, but I also would like to blend into a slightly higher level, but I also want secret pouches created inside the clothing so I can put what I want in there with people not knowing that it's in there. I don't want to tell him all that. If he finds me the seamstress or the tailor or whatever, I'll figure out if I can trust that person.
Okay,
And
yeah, gotcha. So he'll make those inquiries, he had said to you. And he then escorts you to the parlor. Tea, milady?
please.
All right. So then when you're in there and about the time he's bringing you tea, Jacob, Boris, you guys are getting back to the house at about the same time.
See, what I
Nice.
picture is that she becomes aware that we have arrived back because you hear a very loud argument outside because I'm yelling at him for not noticing me in front of the palace.
As I'm dismounting from the horse that got retrieved by Tim and his friend and then is being taken back by Tim and his friend.
I cannot believe you. I waved and you just looked past me.
I was on a horse. I didn't want to trample anyone.
Or, oh, was that you?
Unbelievable.
Why didn't you get your horse?
I forgot I have a horse.
How'd you forget?
Who needs a horse in a city?
Nobles. People aren't supposed to walk everywhere.
I forgot I'm a noble. I need to buy better clothes.
Yeah, same.
All right. So if Woodvane overheard that, he would say that.
I think everybody within a couple blocks
I think so.
overheard
That welcome home, my lords. Miss Zelen is in the parlor. Shall I bring something to drink, some tea or something stronger?
Something stronger.
Tea would be great. And make the arrangements with a tailor. I'll need new clothes.
Of course, and
I second that.
yeah, that as he walks away, he says that I'll certainly make arrangements with a seamster. Once the garment has been fabricated, I'll summon the tailor to have it tailored to you, and then he walks away.
Hey,
sense
I don't
motive.
care. He's beneath my station.
What is that?
He meant me outside.
I want an insight. An unnatural 20 for an insight. Just like, do I pick up?
Wait,
on
where's
his,
the die?
over here?
Oh, I can't even see it.
I threw it.
I rolled a 20. Trust me.
That's definitely an 18 there, bud.
No, that's a 16 plus my insight is a 4.
Oh,
Unnatural.
Unnatural 20.
See, this is why I usually use modified English.
What are you trying to do with it?
I just his tone of voice, the way he was saying what he was saying. Like, was he being kind of that snobby?
Yes,
Of course he
he was being
was.
condescending. Yes, he was.
Does he realize that we do actually have money and titles?
I don't. Think
I
he
have
really
money
cares.
and titles.
I have
We
title.
have money and title.
Technically, we have stolen money, and you
That's
two
right.
have title.
It's not stolen. It's
Yeah.
found. Those are two very
It's
different.
in somebody's house.
I didn't say we. I wasn't saying that we each have our own individual multiple titles.
Oh, you're just leeching off
Look,
me?
I found hundreds of silver pieces in somebody's safe. Yay.
I'm gonna give Tim a gold piece to tell him to take your horse away.
Tim's already gone.
Dang it!
So this is interesting. He was outside of the house waiting for me to get back. Said the house was in an uproar that I wasn't home yet. I don't know if it's just because I'm the only woman in our group or because he saw the silver cloud that I dropped.
Was it a part of your training? Like ladies are supposed to be back
Probably
by a
both.
certain time?
Who knows?
Yeah, it's most likely a combination that you're a woman and that possibly that you've shown affiliation with the organization. But let's leave that aside for the moment. What have you two learned?
I almost became a pincushion, but
I'm proud of you.
Thank
Did
you.
you get anything from it?
Again?
Yeah, I talked to well, I'm calling him Tide. I made a new friend of the palace, the boy up at the palace.
Maybe you'll be able to get in this time.
Yeah, I'm reasonably confident that I might be able to actually get through the gate without having to wait and then being unrecognized. I'm not salty. I talked to him for a while. He gave me some info on. I learned his name is Larkin Silk down on Johann Street, and I made my way down there and immediately was like walking into completely different area, like a new neighborhood. Every single person was like watching me from the second that I walked down the street, and they all had bows close at hand to shoot me if anything went wrong. I knew that there was no getting out of that area alive if I wasn't completely intentional with every single move that I made.
And as you're thinking about that encounter again, Jacob, the people you were counting, the 5 or 6 that were there doing odd jobs in the street, washing, chopping wood, cooking stuff, that wasn't even allowing for the windows that were above.
Oh yeah, those are just the ones I could see.
Those are the ones you could see, right. So it could even be more of a kill zone. So it is a highly defended little cul-de-sac in front of this guy's shop.
So almost like a separate defensible area within here. Like if anything goes wrong, they are protecting themselves.
Do you
Good to
think
remember.
separate? Do you think that you don't think they're connected to anybody else?
I think it's just that they have their own clique. It's not necessarily that they're going against anything going on here, but that they are looking out for their own.
Okay.
It's good to remember, assuming you haven't offended them.
Yeah. I hope so. I think that my interaction
Well, given
with...
that you're not dead.
Good. Yeah, exactly. I was able to walk out of there alive. Given my interaction with Larkin Silk, I think it went rather well. I talked to him about my bow. I name dropped Arnar Jan Sigger.
Okay.
And he was immediately interested. His tone shifted as soon as I did that to him actually wanting to continue the conversation with me. And then what really caught me off guard was when he recognized or noticed there was something off about the fletching of my arrows when I turned to walk away. And we even continued to talk about the owl arrows. I learned that he doesn't really want to trust me because of my title, because of the nobility stance that we are, because our kind of people aren't supposed to be like his kind of people.
Oh, that's interesting.
So I immediately formulated the plan. I'm very excited that I already know about that archery contest that's happening with the circus. I am going to sign, and I'm going to sign up, and I'm going to win. I'm going to prove
All right.
myself.
Marvelous.
So yeah, but that's good information that they aren't friendly with nobility.
Yeah,
That's
and-
interesting.
And also, I knew during the entire time I was talking with him, he was withholding something. I'm not quite sure what, but he was keeping something to himself. But I think once I'm able to prove myself a bit more, I'll be able to open that dialogue with him again.
Okay, good. So I didn't get much from Woodvane, besides a lot of talk about forks and stuff. But I think it's going to take some time for him to be willing to share what he knows. I'm assuming he knows stuff. He's a member of the Silver Cloud, so that's something.
Steel Cloud.
Steel Cloud.
And where are we
sorry.
having this conversation too? Just making sure.
In the parlor.
Closed
Okay.
parlor.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So
If nothing else, being out late probably scared him sufficiently that he might feel protective towards you as well.
yeah, maybe. So that could be something.
After
I
knowing you might
need
be
different
part of
clothes.
this-
I could hardly move through this city. I'm just so obvious the way I'm dressed. But
Glad we're all thinking that way.
I went into the park, and there's definitely druids. I could feel the energy there. So there's definitely druids here somewhere. There also are a lot of old homes around the park. Any one of them is a potential to be holding Shapanov's mission. I can feel in this city that it's built on layers, not in the park. The park I can get to ground, but other places as I walk, I can feel it's layers upon layers. So one of these older buildings, Shapanov's mission could be underneath it. So
sounds like we've got a task before
yeah,
us.
so that could be something. So then this is weird. So I was in the park just to kind of rebalance myself, but I was being followed the whole time that I was walking through the city.
Did you see the person who it was?
I could get a glimpse of him, but I couldn't really see him. So he was good, or she was good. Once I figured it out, I really on purpose tried to throw him off. I couldn't throw them. Then when I left, I didn't feel them in the park, but when I left the park, I knew they were back. I changed into a panther, went up on the roof because I saw something on the roof. I think it was the one that was following me.
You were the stories I was hearing about.
Well, then that person changed too. So yeah, and outdistanced me, way outdistanced me.
So you think
You as a panther, they outdistanced you.
Yes.
Okay.
So you think other druids?
I don't know why another druid wouldn't have talked to me. I don't know why another druid would be following me and then ran away. And it headed towards the place that was described as where the
Razia
wizards
Tower.
are. Yes. Yeah. There's something's going on. There's a lot of spinning circles in this city. So I'm not going to reach out to the druids. They're going to know that I'm here.
You know that there's such tight circles.
They're gonna-
no pun intended.
Yeah, they're going to wait. If they
I know
want
you, pun
contact,
intended.
if they want contact with me, they're going to seek contact with
Yeah.
me. But I'm afraid to reach out because I just don't.
Want to rattle cages? Yeah.
Exactly.
And the same thing too. When I was on my way to the cul-de-sac, I was moving through a whole bunch of merchant districts, and I was looking specifically out to see if I could recognize anything as Zrek activity. And I do firmly believe they are so ingrained here. It's just you can't tell one from the next who may or may not be part of that.
There's a house right by the park that is their house, like their main headquarters. That place is hopping. People coming in and out and in and out. What? Is that wrong to say?
Hoffman is
No.
fantastic. I
Oh,
love it.
that was awesome. Yeah, that was Ladosk Manor.
Ladosk Manor. The Ladosk Manor was the one it was called. And it is hopping. There are people in and out and in and out and in and out. They are not what they are in Weldon, just handing out bread and stuff. They've got some control. They've got
That's
something going on here.
Concerning.
Mm-hmm. How was the library?
With what I found, there's a lot of architecture that I won't bore you with, but first things being first, meeting with the steward. When he was preparing the writ for me to give me access, apparently the library is very strictly controlled, that my writ gives me access to, in his estimation, maybe 80%. But in his office, there's a safe with a number of different, I'm betting more than just, wax seals, which could give me access to the rest if we happen to need it. The guards are different there, too. They remind me more of professional mercenary soldiers than, conscripted militia.
The library.
The
Why
library is
would-
entirely staffed by
The library and the castle. Both.
Huh.
do they seem like the same ones between the library and the castle?
No, they're
or-
different factions. The library doesn't display the banner of the city. They have their own. But they still recognize
Wow.
baronial authority. So
Do you think it's more of just a courtesy, like not like we actually answer to you, but you're in charge here, so we're not going to push that kind of a thing?
yeah, I think it's, at least to some degree, recognition of the lawful authority, if not an actual de facto authority. But there, I read about a number of houses, Barunka, Merrick, Strom, a few others, but Ladosk was mentioned.
As an active house?
No, as a
Oh.
dying house.
Oh,
They're not
that's
they're not
interesting.
extinct, but they're one of the oldest, and they've dropped off for a number of decades. I think the Zrek presence might not just be expansive, but deep.
Wow. Do you think there's something in the library that somebody knows is there and that's why the guards are there?
Potentially. You could be in the blocked off areas. The other point of interest there, it's become kind of something of a salon for Confederation nobility. That it seems most of the nobility that aren't actually fighting the war have come down here and are staying here in Carn Keldley.
That's interesting.
If nothing else, it's a source of information for up north.
Yep.
How are they policing if you went into the next area or not? Was there like checkpoints to check your writs, or were they coming around?
No, I'd request books from runners, and they'd either retrieve them or apologize.
Okay. There's a lot of weird stuff going on.
Yeah, I don't want us to split up anymore. Especially if you're being followed.
Yeah, we might have to just to try to trigger something. I don't know.
But the contacts that we're
we
making,
might
though, at least
pretend to
Right.
something.
I agree. There's
a lot going on.
There's a lot going on, and much curious as I am, we've got to focus on our mission. We've got to find the next piece.
Right, one foe at a time.
Right.
Okay.
So I guess the next thing is,
I think that the archers, I think down on Johann Street, they will know a lot. I really want to focus on seeing what I can learn from them. I need to sign up for the archery contest.
I agree.
Let's make that our plan for tomorrow.
The other thing the archery contest will show us is who else has talent.
Yeah. And if we get down to the
potential
circus,
allies or potential enemies.
Exactly.
and who knows? It's the circus themselves. They're all outsiders from here too, more than likely. So we might be able to make some friends with them.
Are you going to use your owl-fletched arrows as the contest, or
I get a bonus when I'm using them on actual creatures. I don't know if I'd be able to.
I just don't know what could that shake out? What kind of eyebrows could that raise? What kind of interest could be?
Furthermore, if we're circling in the audience, we might be able to make connections that either have a different sort of lever over the city or are able to pass with less suspicion than we are.
Yeah.
True.
And you'd know, Jacob, from other archery contests that are maybe not as prestigious as this one, but the rules generally apply, that most men can use their own bows and arrows. But if the arrows or the bow seems completely outlandish or just crazy in some way, then they would just supply arrows to whomever that person would be.
I know that they have some sort of a faint magical aura about them, hence why they're so special. I have no idea. I'll try and use them, but and hope that they don't get too much destroyed. But what'd be really fun is to just see if I can't figure out how to get some of that amethyst on the tip of one of them and just go out into the bang, and my last shot hits the bullseye, and then just an explosion of light happens, and then I get disqualified.
Let's not tip our hand. Let's not tip our hand yet.
All right, so if you guys are done sharing all the things you wanted to say, anything else you guys wanted to say to each other?
What's for dinner?
They serve you food. We call it nourishment. And then you would head to your own separate areas and sleep the night. If there's nothing else you guys can do anything through the night.
I am going to just check the space underneath my bed, make sure it's still secure, nobody's messed with it.
No one has messed with it.
Okay.
Cool.
And my magic is still on it? It's not? Okay,
Yes,
good.
that's correct. All right, and then if there's nothing else, then you guys sleep. You're fully rested. If you're down on slots or hit points, I don't think you were, you're back up again.
Hope not.
It's the
I
next
don't remember
morning.
fighting.
And unless you have more information, so at breakfast, as you walk into the buffet and you're serving yourself, Carl Woodvane is in attendance, and he announces to each of you, since you all seem to be very interested in it, he says that he has summoned both a seamstress and a seamster to have you properly measured for garments, and then we'll have fittings. This could take a couple of weeks to do, and then he'll summon a tailor to have them actually fitted to you specifically.
Marvelous, thank you.
And he's saying each one of these outfits should cost somewhere in the neighborhood of 50 to 70 silvers.
Oh, cool. Okay, so I haven't really been doing much about changing my, I'm just talking about character sheet stuff here for a second. I have it written down that I have 170 gold pieces, but that does not sound right.
Especially since this universe seems to be on a silver standard.
Yeah, I know, but I don't know when I put that number down. Does anyone else have an idea how rich I may be?
I don't recall that. Yeah,
I'm just going to take those out and just assume that I'm broke.
Why would you assume you're broke?
Because 170 gold pieces is a lot of money.
Yeah, even 170 silver pieces in this place is kind of a lot of money. But that might have been when you first just generated the character and it was just on your sheet all that time and we didn't notice it. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I was the richest person in Grian.
I'm actually the mayor of Grian. I just never let on to it.
I have 100 silver.
That makes more sense. I'll put that in.
All right.
All right.
I'm
well,
cool with
and
that.
I have the stuff that's in the bag that.
True. Oh yeah, we have all those pieces of. We have all those shards of precious gems that we could definitely probably sell somewhere here.
That's a good point. If you put that on your list of things to do, you could definitely find somebody in this city that would exchange that.
That's worth doing.
Yeah. So then at the breakfast, he says that is set up. He'll have a person coming out. When is convenient for all of you? Later this afternoon or?
After lunch?
Yeah, it should be fine.
I agree.
And then he says, I'll make those arrangements as well. And then after breakfast, you guys are getting horses, or are you just walking down?
Horses.
I'm getting horse, yeah. No, I'm not making that mistake again.
Me too.
All right. So you see that, and it's become quite apparent. You've noticed it now that you're aware of it regarding Boris, that there are often urchins that seem to sleep on the front porches or the stairs of some of these very grand houses. And as it turns out, they're runners, that they do this kind of work for that household unofficially, but it usually pays really, really well.
Gotcha.
So Tim is out there right now. It looks as though he slept on the stairs all night.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
I feel bad. I want to give him a couple copper pieces. I know I've been wearing my armor the whole time. Zellen's been wearing hers. After your experience yesterday, are you in any way armoring?
You really can't.
I know yours is a bit obvious.
Yeah, no, just sword for now.
Do we want to, like, on the way there, see if we can't find, like, a just leather armor or something just to give you a little bit of a protection?
It's a bit much.
Okay.
Honestly, you guys are probably drawing a lot of attention.
Yeah, I was about to say, I wasn't thinking about that when you were until you just said it. Are you two going to be wearing armor heading out into the city right now? You will definitely be standing out on horseback.
Can
in
I
armor.
carry my darts but not wear my armor?
Absolutely.
Yeah, then that's what I'm going to do.
Okay, fine. I'll
just in your traveling clothes.
Yeah.
In what I was walking around yesterday were weapons like bows and swords. Those weren't uncommon, right?
Bows would happen every once in a while,
Okay.
and swords very infrequently too. But everyone has a knife or a
I'm
dagger.
a noble, so I have a sword.
Yeah, so I won't disarm anything, but I guess I'll.
Well, that
I will-
short sword you have is like
yeah.
long dagger and short sword. That wouldn't be too out of place. So that's a good weapon to have.
But also, I'm signing up for an archery contest. I feel like I should bring my bow.
That seems reasonable too.
Yeah, so
considering where you're headed.
I'll dress in as unsuspecting of clothing as I can possibly muster, so to not look like a noble because I don't want to.
Okay, so within 15 or so minutes, the horses are brought to you. You guys mount. Do you pay him again?
Gold and a silver, yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
These guys are going to be rich. I'll bet you he makes up his own little like tent outside there with all the money he has. He's thinking, nice guy, sucker, but he's a nice guy.
Yeah, no.
And again, so yeah, it's also
we could get like a network of kids to be looking out. If we get any sort of a look on the guy that was chasing you around, if we just have all the like city
As
kids
long as
just
you're not
looking
putting
around.
him in danger. I already killed a bird. It's a little different killing a kid.
Slightly.
Functionally.
Do any of you ask anything of Tim, even casually in that moment, as you're getting on horseback, etc.?
Tim, keep an eye out. We've seen some unusual things in the city, and I'd like to be appraised if there's anything else happening as we move around.
Did you see one of the jaguars? One of the shadow of jaguars?
I think we did.
And he smiles like that's the coolest thing. Like I just saw somebody in Mandalorian armor. It's like that's cool.
Hold on a second, because I do have something to say. We were driving down. Pilar and I were driving down. It was like
That's his girlfriend.
9 o'clock. Yeah, 9 o'clock at night, and there was a guy dressed up in full armor, just like the Mandalorian, even with the Baby Yoda in his pouch. It was dark, and we didn't see him until the headlights hit him, and he was just walking down the sidewalk on Scenic
Cool.
Highway. We're like, "What is this?" That was creepy. We
Hi.
saw on Facebook later that the guy was apparently headed to Barnes & Noble. He was just walking all the way there. So we saw like people posting and taking pictures with him. I was like, why did you walk there?
Why not?
It's
Fun.
just
Yeah, that's
bizarre.
cool.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't I?
This is the way.
Is this the way?
It's one way.
All right. But yeah, so
Or another.
All right. So yeah. Wow.
if he so going back to Tiny Tim, if he is like, and if he has any other like friends in the area that we could just say, like, if you know anyone else who might be able, like, or is from that area who is more likely to see things like this, ask them, bring them here too.
He just nods his head at you, but to you, Boris, he says, "We see everything." But he ran off to get the horse.
2 silvers for something valuable.
And nods his head.
And that will circulate.
Ah,
So when they come back with the horses, you guys mount up. he does say, as you're mounting your horse, and he says it so it can be heard, at least definitely by both Boris and Jacob, because you were inquiring so specifically, Jacob. He says that the jaguars are usually on the rooftops at night, and they do watch certain places at night more than others. They do watch the area of Garnsdale Park very closely, and they do watch the palace. They've also been seen on the roofs of the Veta Library. But then...
I hand him 2 silvers and mount up.
And then as you guys are taking off, one of the two, Tim or his friend, who is yet unnamed, one of them, we'll say it's the friend, in this case, is jogging with you.
Yeah, makes sense.
All right, so you guys head down through the city. It's easy to find your way, and you find yourselves exiting the city. Again, there's not a lot of security keeping you from going out. It's just making sure you are who you say you are when you come in.
We all have our documents in order to get back in.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And then once you're outside, it's the city field area is the area where the Illusia Circus is set up, and it is in full swing. The main entranceway is... It's like a giant. It's like a giant that's a statue, either made out of wood or some other material, maybe magic or something, but it's kind of bent over, and you'd have to walk like right under it in this crouched over stage. So it's even worse than if it was like the Colossus of Rhodes and you're just walking like under its legs. This thing's bent over like it's ready just to crush you.
That's really cool.
But
as somebody who's fought giants, less than cool.
But we don't have to crouch to get under it. I mean, it's tall enough that...
No, because actually there's a tent and table set up outside of that, and that looks to be where everyone's signing up for the archery contest.
Got it.
The giant statue doesn't give us the same heebie-jeebies like the statues of men back towards the Gate of Ages, like with the proper keyword, they'll come alive and...
Nothing like that. No,
Okay.
this is definitely something that they put together and then deconstruct as the entranceway to their circus as you go up to it. Now, you are aware as you're walking up to this tent that there is like a half dozen people that are there. No one seems to be in line.
So have we
sign up?
dismounted and are leading our horses? Or?
No, you're still mounted as far as I know. Most notably, the first people you can't help but note, or beings, are 2 of what you believe are Umber Hulks. They're in very elaborate headdress. They're on either side of the table.
Those are the things we saw with the pinchers?
Yeah,
Okay.
From that distance, like very large and insect-like, and could just go over the wall or through it if they wanted to. They look very
security-esque?
dangerous.
I guess the technical term is mandibles, right?
Um,
Pinchers are hands, mandibles, mouth.
yeah, mandibles.
Or
definitely
depending on what it is, it could be a chelicera, but
All right.
Okay.
whatever.
But either way, they're on either side. They're not just standing like they're statues. They are definitely, they move, they turn, they look. As you are riding over, like just at a walk on your horses, they're both definitely looking over at you. They have a very elaborate headdress on that makes them seem even taller, and it fits, like a hat, not just as like it's a mohawk-looking thing of feathers on their head, but it's definitely seated on their head itself. And then there's also 3 humans, 2 Sarvapans, that's Armiliu's tieflings, and 1 Villaman, which is Armiliu's elves.
And do we recognize any of them from the conversations that we had on the road approaching the city?
That you had on the road approaching.
That's right.
Yes,
Me,
one of
I had
them.
him.
Oh yeah, you
one
do.
of them. One of you do recognize, and I believe that was you, Jacob. I believe you met Inda Nur. You're going to check your notes.
I think that sounds right, yeah.
Yeah, that she's the assistant to the master of ceremonies, and that's a guy named Yang Bontil. But he's not here. But you do recognize Inda as you guys are riding up.
Fantastic, yeah. Is there a line? Because I don't want to be a line jumper.
There's
like
no
that.
line,
Okay.
and it looks like there's like convenient things. The edges of the poles that hold the tent up, things like that.
Don't
that
worry,
you could
I heard you.
you could
Yeah.
tie your horses off to if you wanted to.
What's his name? Did he jog with us all the way down here?
Oh
or
yeah,
is he just-
he's right here next to you right now.
Seems like the right thing, so I'll hop down and I'll if he's waiting for it, I'll hand the
You're
reins
getting the
to
hang
him.
of this noble
Yeah,
thing,
right?
aren't you? Yeah. I hand it to the peasant.
And I'll approach the table, going specifically to Indanur.
There's no reason for me to come near, so I'm going to stay outside of the crowd, but I'm just going to kind of watch the crowd.
Okay, there is no crowd at this point.
Well, there's people.
The group at the table, yeah. All right, so you hang up, but you're staying mounted. You're on horseback, you say?
Ready
Yeah,
to run.
I'm staying
Okay.
mounted.
And Boris?
I've dismounted and handed not Tim my.
Yeah, Bob.
I love Tim and Nottum.
I hand Bob my reins as well. This shouldn't take long.
He just nods his head. So you two walk up to the tables, and what do you say, Jacob?
As I'm approaching, I go, "Hail and well met, Inda. Good to see you again."
Well met. She gives you a look. Oh, yes, the other day out on the road.
Oh, crap. I dressed intentionally not like a noble person. I forgot I had a conversation with her about this before. Yeah, well, live and learn.
Well, there's still me with noble bearing and whatnot.
This is true.
So you're down here to sign up for the archery contest. I do recall something now about you being interested in seeing if you could try your skills.
Absolutely. I've come to see what I might take home.
Well, well, thank you.
Oh, no. I'm the only one at the table that did not see that connotation of what I said.
One of the Umber Hulks starts edging toward you.
Suddenly, I'm not the only one engaged.
You're beautiful.
You're like, one of the Sarvapans pulls a knife.
I came to see what prize might be.
Uh-huh.
Dang it!
You're not any better at this, are you?
What I think my friend is trying to say is he's wondering what the prizes for the archery contest are.
She nods her head, looking over at Boris and looking back at...
What's your...
I gotta talk to Woodvane.
you need some lessons, too.
What's your charisma?
My charisma's not poor. It's 17.
Wow, it's really good.
18.
Really good, yeah. So I guess you're charismatic in that kind of, oh, look, he's so cute, the things that he says. Well.
Thanks.
Look, he's trying.
I like Zellen's natural response to that.
Okay.
So once the awkward moment passes, she says the first place for this contest is a heartstring for your bow. It'll be made to fit to the victor's own bow.
Now,
So
I know what that is. Is that something that would be obvious for Jacob to know, or
that would be something that you would go ahead and roll that as a do that as a survival check. It would fit the kind of things you learn from that.
9?
You've heard of it.
Okay.
You know that when people say they're like, "Oh my gosh, he has a heartstring," that you're like, "Oh wow."
Okay, so I know
What that means.
I know it's good.
It sounds really good.
Arcana and or survival.
It'd be
for me.
Arcana check. If either of the two of you want to do an Arcana check.
6.
I've heard
3.
of that.
What did you roll?
A 4.
Oh wow, yeah. I got 2. She got 3. You got 4.
All right,
We're
so-
great at this.
So Jacob is here. You guys are like, okay, whatever, sounds good. Is that good? Is that a lot? You don't know what
Sounds
the specifics
messy.
are. Sounds
The irony of this, dear listener, is I made these magic items in a previous campaign.
So they are like nodding their heads like, yeah, pretty good. And you guys are all like, oh
Okay.
yeah.
I very
yeah.
obviously am not signing up for the archery contest, so I don't bows.
Oh, so you're afraid of losing, she says.
He is, and I take
Yes,
the paper
I-
to sign.
I have no skill with bows. Or
Um,
at a test of swordsmanship, not at all.
That would be something. She looks over at the one villain in there, and he shrugs. We'll talk to Yang Bontil. Maybe that's something we could set up for the next time. A wooden swords duel.
I'm staying at the Roth House. I'd be glad to hear if you arrange it.
We'll send a runner if that changes, and we'll of course make a citywide announcement.
Fantastic.
And again, the villain that is there, he says, we'll have to see how this works. Well, I'm not so sure this is a good idea. It's a matter of how entertaining it would be. We'll see. We'll see.
Of course.
So I'm finishing signing up my name on whatever the record it is that they're keeping.
Right, and the cost is 1 silver.
And I slide the silver across the table, and I ask them like how their last few days been. How's setup gone? Anything interesting happening in these last couple days?
Carn Keldley is always an interesting city. There's always a lot of things happening. But for you to find out how things are,
Should I walk away while you're flirting?
Shut up.
You would need to go inside the circus itself. But I'd wait until closer to dark before you go into the circus. It's much more enjoyable then.
So for this contest, I'm imagining you guys will have to inspect my bow. Is that happening here? Should I go somewhere to take it there?
Yeah, we can do that right now. And she turns to one of the Sarvapans and just nods to him. And he steps forward and just holds his hands out for your bow.
And I relinquish it to him. And I if he's walking away with it or doing anything, I keep eyes on
It's
it.
right here at the
Okay.
table. And he looks at it, does a double take, like blinks 3 times, and looks at it again, and looks back up at you, and he said, I didn't realize we'd have someone competing that has a Sigger bow. And then hands it back to you. Your bow is accepted.
And what do you know about Jan Sigger?
Only that they're the best bows that can be found.
Interesting. There's
Your arrows?
Oh yeah, and I give those to him, continuing the conversation.
Yeah, so he's inspecting while you ask him what you're going to ask him.
There's a man I just spoke to in the city, like by name Larkin Silk, who.
And as you say that, everybody's head snaps up.
Ooh. And he also was supposed.
Frowning or not?
Oh,
Call it
yeah.
an insight if you'd like.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead and roll it.
Yeah, I
take that
agree.
too.
I'm going to do the same thing.
11.
A 15.
A
16.
Unnatural 22.
Okay, so the 15s and up, you would say it is neither a frown nor a smile, that it is more like sharp interest.
Oh.
That they themselves, that when you said that name, they almost look busted as though they were just talking about the guy. They have that look in their, like, oh, how'd you guys know that? How did you?
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So,
Well, noticing their heads.
but you're saying, I just met this guy named Larkin Silk, and their heads come up. Do you just keep talking? Do you go,
As I say, so you've heard of him?
We have, and they all nod to you. Yeah, we've heard of, everyone's heard of Larkin Silk that is in any way interested in archery, fletching, boyer,
Well,
everything.
I've met the man, and I can even say that I don't know much about him. What can you tell me that I might need to know?
Well, when you say you've met him, Inda says, where did you meet him?
Does it sound like it's we want to find this guy and kill him way of saying it? Or
it sounds like incredulity. They don't believe
I
you.
do not know what that word means.
Jesus.
Okay.
Really?
That they're disbelieving you.
Okay. And I turn to her and I say, within the city walls, he's he
Outside
works
his shop?
He works and lives here outside. Yeah. Was it a bow shop or was it just his home? What feel did I get of that area?
6 or 2-3. It's his home and it's his shop,
yeah,
as far as you know.
He works and lives within the city walls. I spoke to him just yesterday.
On Johann Street.
Yes.
And again, they all look at each other. Okay. Yeah. So what?
It seems, my friend, you should be dead.
What did you want to ask us about Larkin Silk?
Well, firstly, why is his name so popular around here? Why does everyone know who he is?
Popular, I'm not sure. As far as his skills as a boyer and a fletcher, they're unparalleled. Only Sigger himself was reputed better. But he's a very dangerous man. There have been many people that have gone to see Larkin Silk and have never come back from the cul-de-sac on Johann Street.
I did get that similar feeling when I was there the other day. I don't think had it been for me having a reason to be there, this Jan Sigger bow, that I would not have probably made it out of there with my skin.
And there's a couple of head nods again, and she looks over to the Villaman again, and they exchange a look. If you guys want to do some kind of an insight on that.
9. I'm going to stop using this one for now.
16.
Okay, and Zelen, would you roll?
2
Okay. All right, so the
plus 8, which is 10.
Jesus.
Wow. You're 16, Boris. That you note that their look to each other implies that that's a possibility. That Jacob just said, I think it's because I have this Sigger bow, and that's what kept me alive and got me there. And they look at each other and they're like,
Yeah.
that's a thing.
So, recognizing the look, but not quite knowing their intention, I'll just shift my posture so my hand's just resting on the pommel of the Arngolian sword. You're not gripping it, not drawing it. It's the wrong hand as well. But, don't do anything stupid.
Okay, so as Jacob is much more focused on the conversation and he's looking at Inda and Zelen, you're a little further away. As I make these rolls, I forgot you weren't just right there with the rest of them. You're back off a little bit, so you might be even hearing everything the same way. But Boris, you note that the Umber Hulk that is to the near side of the table, as you do that, you just shift your hand to the pommel almost in a casual way.
Mm-hmm.
His arms come up. His mandible, not mandible, I think they're actually just hand.
Yeah,
they're a hand like
great
arm.
big crushing fist.
Claw things. He shifts his headdress back the way that a person would readjust their hat and they come down again. But
I know what that means.
But you do note that he just shifted that headdress and has exposed another whole set of eyes. But he's still just waiting. to see what happens.
Yeah, point taken. I
But-
shift my hand off the pommel.
He keeps his headdress where it is.
Yeah, no, I believe him.
So while that little thing is happening off to the one side, you were asking about Larkin Silk, asking them about Larkin Silk, Jacob. What is it you were about to say?
If he's such a fantastic bowyer, is it unbelievable that he's on Johann Street, that he's actually here, or is it just the fact that I was able to get there and get back out?
That you got there and got back out again. Usually people that go to see Larkin Silk have been invited by Larkin Silk. Otherwise, they have a very large entourage. There is a process to get a person from the entourage out on Johann Street into the cul-de-sac and then back out again safely. That if he's doing work for noblemen, he'll often charge 10 times the amount and they'll pay it. But usually he's not working for noblemen at all.
I did recognize that. I got that sort of a feel from him when I was there, that merely because of my title that I look over at Inda, some might not believe that I have. He didn't want to work with me as much, but it was that bow. That is what opened up the methods, the roads for communication.
Well, to put it into a greater context, without saying too much about some of our own personal goals, because we are hired to come here by Baron Miles Fleetwood, he doesn't want to deal with us because he treats us as though we're agents of the Baron. So a dangerous man, a difficult man, a skilled man, and definitely commands that block of the city himself.
Thank you so much. That's good to know.
And then as you're doing all of that, the Sarvapan hands the arrows back to you, and I'm not sure which ones did you give him.
I gave him the owl
feather,
fletched.
the owl feather fletched. He hands them back and says, "These are unacceptable. You'll have to use our targeting arrows."
Don't you have any normal arrows?
I do. I just
try that first.
Thought I might throw this out there, but then I do have I have a whole additional quiver that's capped that I was like, what about these? Are these fine?
Yeah, he examines those and says they are.
Okay, so yeah, I'll cap those back and put them back away. Take my bow, take my good arrows back, and start to walk away.
All right, so it's 2 days hence. 2 days hence, we will have the
how many other people?
contest.
How many other people have signed up so far?
Oh, around 50.
Okay, good to know. If I feel like they're going to give me the answer to this question, I'll ask. Many nobles, mostly paupers, anything?
A wide range of...
I want to use fun terms. Don't laugh at me.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's just a little bit of a slur.
A wide...
It's not nice.
A wide range of people from a variety of economic and racial locations.
Okay. Well, you know what? I feel like that almost fits more because I really do not know what I'm supposed to be saying. The
Yeah,
word
there
just
you go.
popped in my
That's
head. Like,
right.
you know what? I've heard this used to describe poor people.
But probably
I'll
to
use
me.
that one too.
That laugh was in character and was an actual thing.
Oh gosh. So yeah, I'll go back and now I want to be the really cool guy and I'll give a silver piece to Bob. Was it Bob?
Bob, yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna give a silver piece to him too.
Okay, he hands the reins over to you and
Yes.
holds the bit and the bridle as you're mounting.
Thank you.
And I mount up and then take the reins from.
Yeah, these guys are
You're
cleaning
gonna
up.
say take the silver from
They've never. He goes bap and knocks the silver out of his hand. I'll take that, thank
I
you.
don't know why that's where I thought you were going. I'm like, wow.
But these guys are doing very well, and they are completely loyal.
Oh yeah.
That they,
So, do I see the person who's been following me? As I'm standing away from all this, have I noticed anything like that?
go ahead and roll that as I would think a perception.
Ooh, that'd be so cool.
No, but there's a jaguar tangled with one of the umbrellas.
That is a 13.
No, you haven't. As you guys are remounting your horses and riding off, I would just say that Boris looks over his shoulder back at the Umberhulks, and once you guys are a distance away, he shifts his headdress back down so he's once again covering up those eyes.
How far is a distance?
50 feet.
Okay, so I'll call it 80 just to be safe.
And then you guys are riding back up into the city?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm teasing him the whole way about Miss Inda Nur. No, I think it's cute. You might actually be courting someone. Just try not to be so rude.
You get back up to the house. You get back to the house, and when you get back up there, Tim is waiting there. They trade off with each other, Tim and Bob,
Mm-hmm.
and then you guys dismount. They take the animals back, and you know that he's gonna have them make sure that they're brushed and groomed and everything else at the stable that you've been saying you take them to. You head back inside. When you get back inside the house itself, Carl Woodvane is there in the foyer to meet you, and he says you have a guest that's awaiting you in the parlor.
What's his demeanor like? Yeah.
Roll it as an insight.
Yeah. What's his inflection on guest in
14.
particular? 15.
He sounds neutral like he always does. There is a little bit of fear.
Oh.
Oh,
big
who is it?
guest.
He awaits you in the parlor.
Big guest.
You go in?
Yes.
So as you open the door, the person turns from the fireplace. He's pouring himself a brandy, and it is Baron Miles Fleetwood.
My lord,
Oh.
I did not expect you.
Close
To what
the-
do we owe the pleasure?
Close the door. Sit.
Was that like intended like all of us come in and close the door?
Oh, yeah,
Just,
yeah.
just
Get in
Boris.
now.
Yeah, we hastily.
I think I'll pour myself a drink as well.
He's right there, and as you're like taking it 2 steps to it, he goes ahead and pours one, and he hands it over to you.
Thank you, my lord.
We need to speak about things that are happening in this city, and I do believe that you are the people that can help me, because you're outside all of the various circles of interest that make this city run the way that it is. We are in a very desperate state, and I believe you can help me extricate myself from the problem that I'm in.
Who's we, sir?
I am we.
No,
My baronial government.
Yeah, the royal we.
Yeah, they're very much the royal we. There is a location that's referred to as the Razia Tower, a group of wizards, mages, and it has been for generations, since before my grandfather's time, that they have been working on developing the means to overthrow my government, my grandfather's, my father's, my government, and form what would be a mageocracy. That they've been outwardly, openly doing this, seizing power. And I've had enough of my own personal power in the form of my own armed guards, not city guards, my own armed guards, that have been a challenge to them. So we've held each other at bay, but they are always slowly gaining power. And as these wizards of the Razia Tower gain power, I could find and I could feel my own power slipping. I need you to help me neutralize that power. Now, I've made other steps. I've taken other steps to try to check their power base. And that is why the Zrek are here. They are influential. They've done an awful lot to move the power, move the money, move the material that serves this city. But again, just like with those wizards at the Razia Tower, I am again finding my power slipping, that not only do I need to fear the wizards at the Razia Tower, but the Zreks themselves, where they've made themselves a stronghold in the old Ladosk Manor, that they are as much my allies as my foes.
Are they also allied with the wizards?
No, they are in opposition to the wizards themselves, but it seems as though they have the same goal. Where the wizards were more open about it, the Zrek seem to be doing the same thing, that through their ministrations of various monies, foodstuffs, there is a great number of connections between this city and numerous noble houses on both sides of the Confederation Civil War. From the Confederation, millions of silver flow into this city regularly, all through and into my coffers that come from the Confederation of Duchies to maintain this city. The Zreks are now the filter that money is going through.
If I may speak plainly, my lord.
Yes.
They are more enemy than ally. Vlakveld has already fallen to their predations.
What do you mean?
The noble authorities, divinely appointed in Vlakveld, have been swayed to their service rather than as should be the other way around. They are the authority in Vlakveld, no longer the House Sikorsky.
That's a horrible thing to hear. But we didn't know why we were not hearing from Vlakveld and assumed that any day those connections be remade. You see, the Zreks have a secret that is their greatest secret, and that is the organization has 2 layers to it. There is that is a civic Zrek, a civic organizer layer of the Zrek organization, and it's through that all the money goes. They've worked themselves by my own appointment, but then they take more control. in every ministry of my government, working with individual noble houses. But there's another layer that are strong, powerful spellcasters. They are clerics. And it's through their power that I've been able to hold back the wizards at the Razia Tower. I don't have a great deal to do with those clerics, but I know that they themselves, or I believe that they were not in any way interested in controlling the city. Clerics are dedicated to some deity, and I didn't even care which one was theirs. But their own power was holding back the wizards. But now it seems that I'm fighting all of them together.
They are enemies more so than the rest.
Wait, you know of this already?
Yes. How I know Vlakveld has fallen. Whitney Pratt of Sikorsky was turned to their cult and sent to pursue us in our missions into the Brimroar. I have fought and slain him.
And you can see he's just totally stunned by all this information.
Yeah, I'm still kind of stunned by it too.
He drops down into a chair. I'm not sure how the rest of you guys are orienting yourself.
I'd sit once he's seated.
But he looks truly, truly shaken by all of this, that he thought he was going to bring something to you. And here's the reveal that there's not just these wizards that are doing their things they're doing, but there's also this wreck and two layers of this wreck. You three are much more informed than what I had thought you would, but I will take this as confirmation, not the devastating news that it means for all of Southland and the various baronies, but actually that you know so much about this, then you are better able to help me. Now, there are other people too. There are also some kind of jaguars people are seeing on the roofs and in the alleyways and the streets, referred to as the shadow jaguars. And I don't know what that is about or who they represent.
And do you have other allies? What groups do you have that are supporting you that you can rely on? Against
the wizards of the Razia Tower, I have the Zrek as my allies. And against the Zrek, I'm hoping to have you.
Gladly, we would rejoice to remove this foul cult.
It will be difficult. They are enmeshed in every level of this government, and the powerful clerics I don't have direct contact with. I don't know where they are. But then against the two of them together, the only thing that I have on my side is wealth. I believe it's to the point that even the Zreks would do away with me and get me out of the picture altogether, as would the wizards of the Razia Tower, except that I'm the touchstone to all these different noble houses in the Confederation of Duchies, that they only come here and they know their safety is guaranteed because of me.
Who's protecting you?
I'm protecting me.
With the news that came in via us, or you already heard of, but before we got here, of the death of Baron Warland, we can only suspect that it had to do with Zrex. That's the only thing that we could possibly think of. And their infiltration into his barony was not...
And placed the young Roderick on the throne.
Yeah, it was not as severe as what we're seeing here. And even then, he was not safe, apparently.
Thus, you understand all of the security that I have outside the palace itself.
Indeed.
I've hired the most expensive, most capable mercenaries that money can buy, because money is no object to me. There's a great deal that comes in.
That's the security we've noticed at the palace. And
that's right.
What is the library?
Those are mercenaries that are hired by the wizards, by the Razia wizards. They control much of the library, and they mete out what knowledge can be gained or accessed. There are some places that even I don't have full access to the library, and it is a token that I'm allowed to go there at all. I haven't been to the library now in the last 6 months because my life would be in danger if I go there.
What are you asking us to do? What is your goal?
Do you seek them merely humbled or well and truly removed?
And who? Both the Zrex and the wizards?
I understand just how large a task this is, but my own people are so well known and their skill sets are known. But I would want that. I want you to some way find a way to reduce the Zrek's power and their hold and their goals to destabilize me, and find some way to destabilize the wizards of the Razia Tower.
if we agree to become enmeshed in all the rings that are moving through this city right now, those wrecks would have to be removed. They aren't the type that can be controlled. They have their own agenda. If we agree to this, we would need you to agree that they are out of your city. We can't. Your city is such a crossroads. They can't be allowed here.
Understand that if I were to make a proclamation tomorrow stating that all Zrex need to be removed from the city, my palace and half the city would burn by the next day.
No, I understand that it's not a proclamation, but our goal cannot be that they maintain some kind of administrative function, because they won't stay that way.
And that's why this is like a house of cards, because if the Zrek themselves are forced to leave, are in some way brought out of power and forced out of Carn Keldley, then my government topples to the wizards of the Razia Tower.
And so both must be crushed. My lord, I can...
Or destabilized. If they could each be destabilized where they need to regroup, that could give me space to take measures of some sort, I don't know what, of my own, but they don't have to be completely removed. But I'm on my heels now, just holding both of them back.
My lord, I confess we have not been completely honest. We have an additional reason for being here aside from escorting the envoy. And I explain kind of broad strokes what we went into the Brimroar for, and that we're looking for, an old church called Shipanov's Mission. I believe that this quest intertwines, that while the Zreks seek political authority, I would be surprised if they didn't have inklings of an artifact or some lost power in Shipanov's mission. I think to do one, we must do the other, and I gladly accept.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Know that you have my full backing, my resources, simply not openly. Because if I were to openly communicate that you are working for me, then there'll be too much scrutiny brought to you.
We are targets and the advantage is lost, of course.
So I leave you to figure what it is you need to do or how you want to do it. But I do expect you're communicating with me as what these plans are before they actually happen.
As much as we can.
We have two children who we've developed loyalty with, Tim and Bob. Would they be safe to act as runners? Or if they're
just street urchins, children.
They're just street children.
Of course. Yeah, they're generally overlooked in a city like this.
Okay.
We stand with you, Baron.
Thank you, because I need your help to save Carn Keldley.
Thanks for listening. Share your theories and fan art on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at The Empire's Edge. If you'd like to support the podcast, feel free to check out our Subscribe Star at subscribestar.com/the-empires-edge.